Hi, and welcome to the final part of the Bob Ross journal, Little Golden Book. My job is to attach the cover to the very nice pages that Miss P has made. It's got two signatures. You will have seen her make these in the videos, and you will have seen her attach a faux spine on some relatively thick card. It's probably about 300 GSM, I would think. And she's kindly drawn the measurements on the back. She wants a 2¼ inch spine, and she's given me an inch overlap each side so I can cut it to where I want it to be. You'll see there that I've marked it at 5/8, and the reason for that is I don't want to cover up the words that are on the back page. So from where it folds, it's about 5/8 of an inch to where it starts there. So that's why I'm going to cut it to that size. As you all know, that's how a Little Golden Book normally appears, and it kind of hinges there. But what we've done is remove the staples, remove the pages so that it just opens out. And then we're going to make use of those bits to form the spine like that. And now, as you can see there, that's about 1¼ inch, which is far too small for that. So what we're going to do is split it in two, insert a little fillet inside to push it apart, and then we shall just glue the signatures on top like that. So the first thing I need to do, as you can see, there's a little gap there with a golden tape, which is going to split that as close down the middle as we can get, and then the bits of the Golden Book tape that are left over, we'll just wrap it round on that side there, so that when you see it from the outside it's all covered in. I just need a ruler and a knife, and I'll place the ruler as near the middle as I can get it, so I've got enough tape each side to wrap around, and we're just going to split it straight down. There we go. It was not as accurate as I would have liked, but it's fine. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue on there, wrap it around, and then when you see it from the outside you won't see any of the cardboard, just the golden tape. Use some of the EVA glue, run a little bead along there, and then just wrap it round. Wrap it round. Let it a few seconds for it to tack up. Being sort of a metallic foil tape, it does take a little while just for it to stick down. But there you can see, just wrap that round. I'll do the other one and let them dry. I'll just pause you there just while I do the other one, because you don't need to see it twice. So there we go, that's both of them. You can now see that if you look at the end, you don't see any of the card, you just see the golden tape. So that's grand. So let's put that over that way and that over that way, so we know which way round they are. So what we're going to do is insert a piece in there, and then stick the signatures on top of that. So what I needed to do, it was 1¼ inch, if you remember the gap between there and there prior to us splitting it, and we needed to be 2¼ so I've made a 1 inch fillet to fit in the middle. It's 2 pieces of 750 GSM weight card, because that is exactly the same when I put them together. It's exactly the same thickness, so it'll be nice and flat. We won't have a little dip or a lump to contend with. So that's going to fit into there like that, and then the signatures are going to stick on top. So what we need to do then is obviously consider what we're going to cover this with. Now you could cover it with some of the paper that you've used in the signatures, or in my case I'm going to use some actual Little Golden Book tape. They're called repair strips. You can buy them from a company called chromalabel.com in the States, and they're for repairing your favourite Little Golden Books when they fall apart, because they do sometimes. Eventually the tape gives way and the staples rust and they fall apart. I think they come in packs of 20. I don't know what it is, I think it's $20 or something like that, I think. And they're 1 inch wide and just slightly longer than the book, the height of the book themselves. Now these, I think the tapes on these new ones are 1 inch wide. Some of the older ones are slightly wider. So if you are going to repair a book, I'd recommend putting it on the front first and then wrapping it around the back, because then if it's short, at least it'll be short on the back rather than on the front. So we'll put them to one side. We'll get that. Because we had to, we needed 1 inch and a inch and a quarter. That's right, 1 inch and a quarter to fill in the back. I'll need to use 2 to fill it in correctly, because 1 just won't reach. Because whilst that gap that we originally looked at was 1 inch and a quarter, of course, 1/4 of the inch of that was the sort of open space in the middle. So we only had 1 inch of the actual books, which was the 2 bits of that came to 1 inch, so we needed 1 inch and a quarter. So I've made that 1 inch and a quarter and exactly 8 inches lesser slither, which is the height of a golden book. So we'll just take the tape off these, take the backing off the tape. Turn that way up and line it up without getting my head too much into the camera so you can't see what's happening. Leave a little bit of overlap each end. Put it down the middle. And that's the one side there. Get the little bone folder, give it a little bit of a press. And then we can wrap that round the back out the way. But what I'm going to do first is, because you'll be able to see that from the top, then I just needed to snip that corner over and fold that over, so I'll do that next. So you need about a 45-degree angle across that corner, leaving a little bit over the point of the corner. That actually, a pair of scissors might be easier for you to see. So again, what about a 45-degree angle, just in, but just a little bit away from that corner, so you've got something to wrap around. Fold that over. Again on the bottom, about a 45-degree angle with a little bit of leeway. And when you find you do this, you always find there's a little bit there, and the easiest way to do that is just to ease that round with a bone folder first. Just push it around the corner, and then get a little bit. Then you can just put it on the table, pull it up, push it over. And that's that off. That'll be the back, so you won't see that, and that'll be the front. And the tops are covered, the bottom's covered, and we just need to do the same again on the other side. Just decide which way round we want it. going to go that way. Mix it up and go that way. No, I think probably that way. And then some of these lines will kind of match up and not look quite so off as others. So again, take the back off. They come off quite easily. They normally come off in, it's got to split down the inside so you can put one side in before the other. We'll take that off. Bring that towards me a little so I can see. Line up them two lines there. And a little bit of a bone fold. Miss P's scissors, that'll make her happy. Again, just snip off 45 degrees angle, leaving a little bit of a overhang. 45-degree angle, bit of an overhang. Wrap that round. Wrap that round. A bit neat on that end, but it's fine. Then use the bone folder just to push that corner around. If you don't push that corner around, you end up with a little tag sticking out on the end. So it's easy just to bring that corner around so it just lays flat. Can you just see that? Maybe. Once you've done that, again, put it down, fold it over, and push it down. And there we go. So when we now put the two bits of book in, that's pretty much what you'll see from the outside. Which doesn't look too bad, I don't think. It looks fairly golden bookish. I mean, they're much shinier than those, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. I mean, as I say, you could use some of the papers for the inside to cover it. You could just paint it gold if you wanted and use a Sharpie and do your own little doodles. Whatever suits you best. So what we need to do is to turn this over bit by bit so we don't get them mixed up. That, and then that. And then what I'm going to do now is put some double-sided tape on there. There's got a bit of loose paper, we'll just stick that down. It's going to be covered up anyway, but you know, for completeness sake, as Miss P would say. So I'm going to put that nice and tight to there. And I'm going to get some double-sided tape, and I'm going to use it initially just as a sort of stick-in plaster, if you like, and just put it down there to hold those two bits together. Find the end. There we go. Let me move that one out of the way. Turn this sideways because it'd be easier to go left to right than come towards me. Whoops. That's that. And come down the other end, squeezing them together. Wait, not as much as that. It's over squeezed. Hold that together nicely. Yeah, it's in the right place. That's the same on the other side. Left to right would be easier than up to down, I feel. It's the thing when you're on camera, you have to think of the audience. Can they see or not? As you can see, I've not practiced this, so it's all a bit of a learn on the go. Ooh, Lord. Come on, stop messing. That's it. Get that there. Get the bottom end in. Oh, come on. Stop being so silly. That's not quite lined up. Making the right pig's ear of this, you may say, because you'd be right. It's one of those things you could do with 3 hands, really. Oh, look, it just keeps opening up. Come on, stop it. Try and be sensible, professional. Also cut a little bit off because the tape's not quite ticking at the top, so I'll just put a bit of that there, and then the tape can come round and stick on that. Turn it over, make sure we're still looking good. Yep, we are. Right, so that's that. So the next thing I need to do, as I mentioned before, is because this is, we've left an inch of space. If we were to put that there, when it comes down you'll see that it covers up the words on the page. So I just need to trim off a little bit each side to make it a better fit for our little golden book. Put that to one side for now. The double-sided tape does 2 jobs. Obviously it's working as just a sort of a sellotape there as it is now, but obviously we can peel off the back and it'll give us extra adhesion when we come to glue on the spine. Right, so I've already marked this at 5/8, so I can just use a ruler and a sharp knife and trim that off. And the same again on this top side. Obviously you can cover these with whatever you like, depending on the thickness that you've made your signatures. You may not need to add anything in, or you may need to add more, depending on how you've actually made it. So I wouldn't worry too much about the measurements, because this is made to fit this particular journal. Yours may be thicker, maybe thinner. Right, so there we go. So what we're going to do now is just going to take that bit off the bottom so I can wrap that tape round a bit so it catches. And that's the thing with those repair strips, I wouldn't say that they were the most stickiest things in the world. And do a little bit at the top as well when they put the tape. It's easier to get these things sorted out now than have glued it all in and be fighting with the bulk of the pages. And just pop that there along the top. Take off the back end. And it'll just give somewhere for that little bit of tape to grip to. There we go. So yes, we've trimmed that, we've done that, we've got rid of that. So what I'm going to do now is the glue that I'm going to use is actual book binding glue. It's by Pinflair. Any of your normal sort of EVA, PVA will do. It's just this has a better grab and dries quicker, so I won't be fighting with it for so long trying to hold it in place and clamp it down, etc. So I'm going to use the right glue for the right job. But you never thought you'd see that on this channel. Just going to apply it with a spatula. Just going to what shall I do? I'll put it on the spine. I think is probably the easiest way, and then I'll know that I haven't gone too far. Dries clear. It is just like a normal PVA really. It just has more less water and more fillers in it that make it grab slightly quicker and firmer. And it dries flexible, so it's when they make the glued spines of books, this is exactly the glue that they use, so that when it's opening and folding all the time it flexes, it doesn't set hard. So I'm just going to use the spatula, cover all that, and then just plump it on. Yep, don't think I'll be able to see how and this, of course, the whole purpose of hidden spine is so you don't see the strings and the fastenings on the outside. I mean, we could have done exactly the same as this, and she could have just sewn it in, but you would see these strings on the outside, which is a look you can go for. But I think with a little golden book, I think the more it still looks like a little golden book on the outside, the better. But it's personal preference, isn't it? I mean, you do whatever you do, as Tim would say. Keep saying Bob and Tim in the wrong places. The other thing with this book binding glue is because it does quite a grab, you have probably less wiggle time than you may possibly have with some of your normal PVA, so just take your time and make sure you're lined up as best as you can be. You do have some wiggle room, you always have wiggle room with glue. That's it, make sure it's all covered, particularly to the edges, because that's where it'll lift if you don't get any glue to the edge. I think that's pretty much a good covering. A bit more on the back because of the strings. Don't want them to get in the way from sticking, stopping it sticking. There we go. Right, so now is the delicate task of deciding exactly where you want it, which I think is about there, and there, and there, and the bits, the creases that Miss P put in should line up with the creases that were on the book. I think we're just about right there. We can always trim off any bits. And as you can see that now, it does stop. Sorry about the focus there because of my head. You can see that the papers that we've used stop just short of the writing, so it looks good. Give that a bone fold. You see that book binding glue, that's pretty much grabbed now. It'll still need a bit of drying time, but it has grabbed, so it won't be moving anywhere time soon. Let's find the middle of the two signatures, which is about there. It should open up, just give me a bit more room to get in and get some pressure on it. It's got enough glue because it's just squirted a bit out the end, which is exactly what you'd be looking for, really. Just take that away so we don't catch on any paper. And I believe leave that for a minute or so. Just as well put my lid on my glue. It's quite runny glue. It's easy to apply. As I say, it has higher grab and more flexibility when it is dry. Put the lid nice and tight on that. Ooh, it's not on tight. There we go. Just clean off the spatula on a bit of blue cloth, I think. Put too much glue on the Timmy towels, they go a bit hard and a bit scratchy. So just clean that off, because it'd be much harder to remove once it's dry. There we go. So that's that. Right, I think we can probably have a look at that now. Bend that up. There we go, that's the front. Let's pull the bit apart there. Let's push that back down a bit. Obviously I haven't left it long enough. There we go, there's the back. I shall leave that flat until it's fully dry. But I think that looks acceptable as a nice tidy finish. The papers that we've used, I don't know whether you can see on there, it's just a little bit over the top there that I can just trim off with a pair of scissors later on, but I think that's quite nice. I'll just leave that to dry before I do any more. In fact, I might just put a few clips just at the top edges just to stop things moving. Get some clips right in. Some clips. Ooh. Clip. Clip. And some on the bottom edge. There we go, that's that. So that should be nice and in place now. I'll just put something there and something there to hold the signatures up while it's drying. And there we go. I think that's the job done. Obviously, as I said before, you can use the Little Golden Books repair tapes from a company called Chroma Label. You could use the papers that Miss P's used in the book, which is D'Atelier des Arts, I think, papers. Or you could cover it in fabric, or you could, if you made it not too thick, you may not have to do it at all. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this project from start to finish. I'm sure Miss P will be along with another fabulous project very soon. And I may or may not be on that one too. So thank you very much. Bye.